Life Priorat plus Monsanto is a project financed by the European Commission that is driven by a consortium of 5 bodies led by the VTEC Wine Technology Centre, along with Monsanto Denomination of Origin Regulatory Board, the Priorat Qualified Denomination of Origin Regulatory Board, the sustainability services company Anthesis Lavola, and the Wine Technology Platform of Spain. The objective of this initiative is to develop and demonstrate a sustainable wine production model that considers the efficient use of natural resources across its value chain through the implementation of 5 technical actions. The first of these actions is focused on optimizing water consumption for the irrigation of the vineyards by using the appropriate dose and at the optimum time in order to achieve an increase in the quality of the grape. Starting from an expected objective of reducing water consumption by 10% per tonne of grape produced, during the 2017 to 2019 period, a total of 11 new meteorological stations were installed, which along with the existing public network stations, enabled the complete monitoring of 14 climate zones according to the initial experimental design. Through an online platform, it has been possible to display and download the data collected by the climate stations, both through the web application and the mobile application. Furthermore, it has enabled the display and download of meteorological data from other public network stations and has a clear emphasis on wine growing, generating charts on agronomic indices, pest and disease prediction models, and others we consider to be of great interest in the project. At 9 of these 14 zones, hydric stress and maturation control measures were conducted in the vineyard, providing irrigation recommendations to over 200 hectares belonging to a total of 16 wineries and associated wine growers, which are also extendable to almost the entire irrigation service area of the country. These irrigation recommendations, according to grape variety, are based on the execution of measurements of hydric potential, climate parameters obtained by the meteorological stations, maturation parameters of the grape, knowledge of the soil, and observation of the vineyard. After the tests and monitoring of these plots, it has been concluded that the reduction in water use has been much higher than the expected 10%, fluctuating between a saving of 25% and 35%. These results will have a great impact on the wineries, both economic and environmental, and will enable a much more efficient and sustainable irrigation to be practiced in all the experimental vineyards of the LIFE project. The second of these 5 technical actions is aimed at implementing a sustainable agriculture that guarantees the good health of the vineyards and a high-quality grape by reducing the use of chemical synthesis phytosanitaries and using only when necessary other alternative, more environmentally friendly products. The fungal diseases that currently affect the vineyard more are mildew and mold. Today, the treatment of these 2 diseases, along with Botrytis cinerea, represents 90% of the cost of phytosanitary products for the vine in Spain. The appearance of Botrytis cinerea is primarily caused by the grapevine moth, whose protection in vineyards is considered essential. To approach the objective of optimizing the use of phytosanitaries during the 2017 to 2019 period, the consortium worked on applying alternative natural products to control mildew and mold, as well as implementing the sexual confusion technique to control the grapevine moth, Lobesia botrana. Of all the tests conducted, the use of botanical extracts and natural products stood out for their effectiveness, which both alone and combined with low doses of copper or sulfur are confirmed as effective treatments against mildew and mold in Priorat County conditions and with a smaller environmental impact. The sexual confusion technique to combat Lobesia botrana also completely reduced the use of insecticides in the entire planted surface area. This technique consists of disseminating across the entire environment the pheromone in which females attract the male. This event causes the disorientation of the male and makes it impossible for them to mate with females, thereby impeding the pest's reproduction. In this context, if at the start of the project Life Priorat plus Monsanto, the total surface area was 375 hectares, there are now over 500 hectares of vineyard in the Monsanto denomination of origin, encompassing almost 31% of the total surface area, and in the Priorat qualified denomination of origin 900 hectares, in other words, 44% of the total surface area. Furthermore, VTEC, along with the plant defence groups of the Priorat qualified denomination of origin and the Monsanto denomination of origin, provide assistance to wine growers to reduce the use of phytosanitaries of chemical origin. The purpose of the third technical action is to optimize the use of fertilizers to obtain a high-quality grape by determining the exact amount of fertilizer necessary to compensate the plant's shortcomings and by replacing chemical fertilizers with environmentally friendly organic ones. The vine is considered an undemanding crop with respect to the nutrients it requires, since it possesses a certain capacity to adapt to a wide range of soils with different fertility. Nevertheless, an unbalanced fertilization can represent a high cost in economic terms, in production, in final product quality, and environmentally speaking. For this reason, in order to approach the objective of optimizing the use of fertilizers, appropriate dose and optimum time, soil and leaf tests have been performed to confirm nutrient assimilation and to issue specific recommendations on organic fertilizers for each wine grower and plot, with the purpose of sustainable and high-quality production. In total, a monitoring of over 400 vineyards of both denominations was conducted, along with over 550 nutritional tests, which also enabled a nutritional characterization of the vineyard and an improvement in its nutritional balance. 100% of the chemical fertilizers used in the monitored vineyards have been replaced by organic ones, while a significant overall reduction in amounts of nitrogen fixation in both denominations of origin has been achieved. 35 wine growers and 53 wineries among the two denominations of origin at which this technique is applied have worked together to obtain these results. Two of these 5 technical actions are coordinated by the Sustainability Consulting Services of Anthesis Lavola. Action B4 is aimed at determining regional tailored best practices for water use, energy and materials optimization in wineries, and the objective of Action B5 is to calculate the environmental footprint of the wine produced in the Priorat qualified denomination of origin and the Monsant denomination of origin. As a result of Action B4, which seeks to establish best practices, a manual of good practices and improvement strategies adapted to the region's situation has been developed. This manual includes the optimization of power consumption and the water consumption in the main winery processes, energy efficiency practices, improvements in wine distribution, and improvements in the selection of bottles. Furthermore, from the wine production data provided by wineries on Priorat and Monsant region, the environmental footprint for an average bottle of wine has been calculated using the life cycle assessment, concretely the European PEF methodology, Product Environmental Footprint. The results of Action B5 shows that some of the environmental footprint indicators are 1.2 kilograms CO2 equivalent, 20% lower than the average European PEF, and 5.03 kilowatt-hours power consumed per each bottle of wine produced. Another result of this action, focused on the environmental footprint, is that an environmental footprint calculator has been developed, which will permit that farmers should be able to analyze the environmental impact of their changes on processes, for example, the use of organic pesticides instead of synthetic ones, and optimizing water and power consumption at the winery. To obtain these results, data has been gathered on the wine production process from a total of 28 vineyards and 19 wineries from Priorat and Monsant. This sustainable wine production model, developed within the framework of the project, intends to be replicable in other Spanish and European wine-producing regions. To that end, the Wine Technology Platform, as an association that coordinates R&D and I in the sector, has designed a plan for the communication and dissemination of results of Life Priorat plus Monsant. Within the framework of this plan, synergies have been gained with the denominations of origin Ribeira Sacra, Navarra and Uclés, and at an international level, ties have been strengthened with the denomination of origin Nobile di Montepulciano and Portugal's Douro region through an agreement with ADVID. These agreements will lay the foundations to not only make the project and its results known, but will also enable other regions with diverse climate, economic and cultural characteristics to apply some of these sustainable methodologies developed by Life Priorat plus Monsant.